Welcome to the podcast of the American Diversity Report, where we interview innovative change makers and diverse people who are making a difference. I'm Deborah Levine, the editor and the podcast interviewer, and with me today, our interviewee is George Eshelman. He is an Army veteran who inspired the upcoming film, The Keeper, which is based on his real-life experience hiking the Appalachian Trail while carrying 363 military name tags for military members who committed suicide. And his purpose is to raise awareness of this issue. Welcome, George, so much.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Maybe we could start off with you telling us how you came to be in the Army.
Um, I was born and raised in Louisiana, and my family has had a long history of artillery, dating all the way back to the Civil War in Gettysburg. So I joined the military 518th Field Artillery out of Fort Sill, Oklahoma in '88, and was deployed to Desert Storm and spent a little over 9 months in country over there. Then came back to the States and finished on my tour duty, and I guess integrated back into civilian life the best way that I could. So
And where do you live now?
Calhoun, Georgia,
In Georgia. Not
since
far from, not
yep,
far
since
from me.
1992. So
Ah, I love it. I love it. Well, I really applaud you for doing this very difficult movie. And I wondered what inspired you to hike the Appalachian Trail like this to promote veteran mental health.
um, I always wanted to. A friend of mine, we had always talked about it when we were younger. Um, and in 2015, in April of 2015, I'd gotten a call that he had taken his life. So I posted on Facebook, about wanting to hike the trail and leave his name tape atop Katahdin, Mount Katahdin, Maine. And it just kind of caught legs from there, and people started sending me name tapes, what I carry their loved one. Um, and I set out to hike the trail. But what people didn't know while I was carrying the name tapes, and this goes a lot with PTSD, is that I was not planning on coming off the trail. My intention was to take my life on the trail. And so I guess what inspired me to write the story based on my journals and what I went through those almost 6 months, um, was so powerful that it was a message that had to be shared. It wasn't something that I could just go home and forget about what happened out there while carrying these brothers and sisters that we lost.
Yeah. I watched the movie and I saw that.
Beautiful.
I was so engrossed in your story. It was amazing. I'm so glad you did it, and I bet it was difficult.
It was. There was really no way, I guess, for me to prepare to see filmmaking in progress, how they make movies, and I guess me believing that I was prepared was an understatement. There was no way to prepare, and they stuck to the story line by line, almost word for word. That made it that much more powerful. So as I'm watching them act out what I did, um, yeah, it was tough. But again, with the great cast and crew, it impacted a lot of those people too while we were making the film. So we were all one big family out there, and that kind of lent to the tagline of the movie. No one walks the trail alone. That you're never alone. You've always had somebody. So it was hard, difficult, but it was also satisfying that this story finally gets to be told.
And how long were you walking on that trail?
It took 144 days
Oh
to
my goodness.
finish the hike. And um, in the movie, as you can see, uh, how it progresses, and I won't get into it. They have to watch the movie. Um, but it my problems didn't end at the end of the hike. In real life, they kept going and kept going, because at that point I realized that everything I had been hiding for those 24 years, was wrong. Shouldn't have been hiding it. And so once that box was open, there was no way to put everything back in it, and I had to deal with what I had suppressed all those years. And I've learned a whole lot in that time. Um, and it's, uh, I guess best would be an epiphany that I was blessed enough to be able to come off that trail with a message. So that's what I hope to keep doing.
Oh, I understand, why it took so long for it to come to the surface and to deal with it. When my father, when I spoke to my father about dealing with Holocaust survivors, and I said, they never said anything to their families about it. And he says to me, "Well, I never told you my stories either." And I go, "What?" Yeah, it's hard. And I really admire you for all that you're doing. And we need this more than ever. Our veterans need us to pay attention, do we not? Yes.
Yep, we do. It's a lot of times, and I guess it would you probably would agree that soldiers tend to hold a lot of stuff in because if you weren't in combat or experience, it's hard to understand where the veterans coming from. So we were a little easy. We speak to other veterans a little more comfortable. But when you get out of the military, um, I don't know why it is like this, but we tend to lose touch with veterans, people we served with, and even the American Legion or VFW and other organizations. And next thing you know, the veteran is deeper and deeper into themselves, more isolated, and they don't know where to turn. And it I guess that's why it takes so long for it to come out. Studies and research have shown that it could take up to 2 or 3 decades later for PTSD to really surface, and that was my case. 24 years, I was everything that kind of was in that box came out, and by that time it's so large and so devastating to me that I really went from being okay or thought I was okay to thinking about suicide and attempting it, and it happened really quickly. And that's what we need to let other veterans and as well as civilians to know that it happens quick. Don't waste time. Talk to people. You can't handle everything on your own, and don't try to be strong because you're just not that strong. No one is.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that is increasing, isn't it, among veterans?
Yes, ma'am. And the sad part is it's the numbers when people look into it. Middle schoolers have a high rate of suicides, which is just that's saddening, from bullying and all the social media. And if anyone would not know who to go to, it'd be a middle schooler because their minds are still immature. They don't know how to comprehend and deal with that stuff. Um, and we need to start all the way down to there to instill in this that it's not a weakness. And the word mental health is not something to be afraid of. For so long, the word mental has had a wrong, you know, a wrong tag put on it that nobody want to be considered mental. It's think of it a different way. It's just life. Life is, you know, difficult sometimes. And let's just say I have life problems instead of mental problems. If that's easier for people to understand. Um, in the end, it all results in the same thing. You're either going to get better and be able to cope with it because you have support, or you're not. And I think that through this movie and the message and more understanding and knowledge of it and education, that more people will be able to cope with it and not be so afraid to come out and say it.
Yes, indeed. I have a family member who is a psychiatrist.
Mhm.
She was saying that something about veterans that if they're exposed to a lot of explosions, that this can cause some damage in the brain that may affect you in various ways. You don't
Right.
realize it. And it's something that people don't think about because you're not shot, you're not blown up, but you are damaged.
Right. You've got to be in artillery naturally, and even if they're not in artillery, you have what we call shock waves, and those shock waves are traveling over 500 miles an hour. And if you're close enough and they hit you, um, it's like it hitting a Kevlar helmet with a bat. Um, it's it make you nauseous. It's a real thing and it's invisible. You can see it coming across the desert, but um, a lot of veterans have got concussions from them and stuff like that. But again, we're taught to be strong and resilient. As long as we have our brothers and sisters around us, we can deal with anything out there because we have that support right next to us. But once you get out of the military, all that stuff that happened in the military, you don't know how to deal with it. And again, like you had said, concussions and the impact, they don't even really realize that that was something they went through because in the heat of battle, um, you don't you don't wear earplugs. You can't hear the orders being given, um, and you're so amped up and ready to do battle and survive that a lot of the stuff that happens you don't really remember in detail until years later, and that's the damage has already been done, you know, to that.
Well, I wish that it was all much easier for our veterans who have served us so well and done such a beautiful job. But I'm delighted that you've done this movie and shared these stories so that people can be more aware, of what's going on and how we all need to pay attention and be there for folks.
Right.
How can we better do that?
uh I guess acknowledge that you know you're not alone, number one, but number two, that you are capable of helping other people. You can be that one person that helps someone as well as let other people help you. And to be able to, like holding these up, these were the actual ones that were in the movie. These are the name tab, and they've been with me 7.5 years. I've carried them everywhere, and they're a great conversation starter. Um, I I will drop everything I'm doing for these family members. A lot of times they'll contact me and say they hate to bother me. They have a question. It's like, you're not bothering me. And if we can understand that we can all be like that, that our lives are not that busy, that we don't have time to help someone else because, you know, it's easier to help someone than it is to go to a funeral and ask yourself why. Why did they do this? Don't ask why anymore. Ask why. What can I do to help you? What can I do to change this, to spread the message and change society's idea of just being decent to each other, understanding that, you know, this world spins around pretty fast and things get messed up pretty quickly. And to try to do it all on your own, you can't, so again, I would say, you know, reach out. In the military, you have something called a buddy check. Um, and some people do it every day. Some people do it once a week. They've got a number of their friend they'll call, just check on you, man. And some days are great, some days aren't, but they're there. And that's the important part.
Wow. Can you hold up those name tapes again?
Yes, ma'am.
These are the name tapes and how did you get those? What are they exactly?
Pardon?
How did you get those and what are they exactly?
These are the name tapes that you would put on a military uniform.
Okay.
They're the actual names. The families would send me their names on Facebook and I'd have these made. These are original ones that I carried on all my hikes. These are ones that were in the movie. again, they go wherever I go. I'm in LA right now. I'm from Georgia, so they go with me. Um, they're I call them a security blanket because uh, they just make me feel good to know they're there. They're sad. Um, it's I guess it's a balance of emotions because when I look at them, they're my friends, but I can't talk. I can't talk to them. Um, but I know they're there, and they helped me when I was on the trail. And I think a lot of people when they see the movie, they're going to understand what I mean by that.
Yes.
Uh, they're again, they're my family, and the loved ones of these people, they're my family. And my wife, before she had passed away, uh, when I was hiking, she said, don't let those names consume you. And what she was meaning was don't don't let all the death and hurt, destruction bring you down because what you're doing is positive. And that was her biggest fear is that I would get so depressed by all these, you know, that it would hurt me. And again, blessed that it didn't turn out that way. It turned out something for the better. And I'll carry these, for hopefully another 30, 40 years. I'm 54 years old now. So as long as he'll, man upstairs will let me keep breathing, I'll keep carrying them. And it people that see them, they ask what they're about, and that starts the conversation. And a lot of people have no idea that there that many veteran suicides, and they're equally surprised when I tell them that's not only maybe half of the suicides, in America every day. So it's about 48, and soldiers are 22. So yeah, it's a sad epidemic that's in this country, and it's getting worse with the social media, the stress of everyday life. Everything is so fast paced that we forget to stop, take a breath, and realize, we're just human. Be nice to each other. Be there for each other. And tomorrow's going to come. It'll be another brand new 24 hours. And in that 24 hours, don't bring yesterday into it. Live on today forward. And if we do that, I think, we can change a lot of stuff. And, I was told by my wife, don't try to take on so much. You're trying to change the world. Just change one person's world. And if one person changes one person's world, we did it. We just changed it. So that's, I guess that'd be my wish would be this movie would open people's eyes, and they would say, wow, this is a true story. This guy went through this stuff and he's not afraid to come out and say that, he had problems, but he knows people are there for him and he'll be there for them. So,
And I'm sure it will. I just know it will. It made me cry.
well, I'll ask you this. I always do, without going into detail, how did you like the ending?
Oh, it was great. It what?
Yeah, everybody that sees the ending, they say, I did not see that coming.
Oh, you're right. Absolutely right. And it was so special, and I'm just sort of sitting there staring at the screen. Hey, would I get that right?
Well, I'm glad that makes me smile because that was the intention, and that's what I felt at the end of the hike. So it was they were able to bring it into fruition, and the cast and crew. I can't speak highly enough of those folks. Um, the four actors who have played, actually there were five, but uh, Haley Babula, Michael McLean, Nicholas Assad, and Andrew Ferguson. Uh, I know most of these people's stories, and at the end of the filming on the East Coast, and they called Wrap. Uh, I had told the four actors that were there. Um, so I just want to say thank you all. You allowed me to tell my friends goodbye, and it was I don't get choked up very often. Um, yeah, that day was really powerful because these actors did such a great job of portraying these people that it was hard to believe that they were not them. Um, and it was especially Sophie. Shampoo, which was played by Haley Babula Peanut. Um, she she from when the family watched the movie, they just said, yeah, that was Sophie, you know. So and that made Haley, you know, happy as an actress. Uh, but it made me happy that I was able to bring a story like this here that really portrayed these people who they were and not what they did, because what they did doesn't not dictate who they were. These were these are soldiers, these are heroes, you know, and these are loved ones, and we need to keep that in mind that these people, you know, they went before us, and I won't agree with why they went, but they're here with me now, and they'll live on forever with this movie.
Yes, they will. And your co-directors, Angus Benfield and Wendell Bryant Jr., amazing. It's
Yep.
flowed, it just engaged you
Yep.
through the
And
whole journey.
Todd Tavolazzi, the screenwriter, he's an active duty naval commander right now in the Navy.
Wow.
Um, yeah, all those three, they were the first ones I met when I got involved in all this here, and they're I can't again thank them enough. They're more than family to me, uh, and Angus, for him to portray me in the movie,
Yes.
uh, to touch on the talent that these people have as actors and directors and producers is I never got to spend a whole lot of time with Angus before the filming. He just watched what I did in normal day, you know, uh, did and he nailed it as you know being kind of lost and skittish at the beginning of the hike, and then by the end of the hike he has his trail legs. He's more comfortable and stuff like that. So to watch it progress and to watch how these people bring this 2D story into 3D life, you know, um, it's I can write uh, what I'm thinking and put it on paper, and when people read it, it's like a book. It's impactful, but once you turn that into visual, there's so much emotions that can be can be derived from it that it just amps up the story so much more. And again, all these names being on set with us really impacted the actors. I believe Angus had mentioned there was one actor that came up to him and said he didn't know if he could do his scene because he can't even get through the screenplay. That's how powerful it was for his scene. He was a veteran, so it they all went far above and beyond what I ever imagined they would because they're West Coast. They flew all the way out to the East Coast and went to every location, which is very difficult to do with a movie set. You know, with a movie crew, a lot of flights, a lot of driving, a lot of thing trekking through the woods, carrying equipment. So it's all hats off to them for an excellent job.
I totally understand and the emotion of it and how that one gentleman might have hesitated to even get through the screenplay. When I found my father's letters from World War II,
Mhm.
it took me 20 years to write the memoir with those in them. 20 years. So I so appreciate what you're doing, how difficult it's been, not just for you, but all the people involved. And thank you so much for going on this journey in so many ways to make a difference. And before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
Um, I think we covered most of it. One thing I would like to add is that you spoke a lot about your father in World War II. Um, that generation is my generation's heroes, along with the Korean War and Vietnam War. Um, but yeah, I guarantee he is no doubt watching, and I want to thank him for his service. Thank him for his service. He's greatest generation we ever had. He is why we still speak English and not German. You know, so it's he's a great man, and when it's my time to go, I hope I get to walk up to him and say, "I met your daughter. Thank you
Oh
for that.
my,
Thank you for your
thank you
service."
so much. I called my memoir The Liberator's Daughter And
Beautiful.
that's who I am. And you and I are both dedicated, right, to telling stories, right, that change the world, that
Yes,
make
ma'am.
it better, to heal it. And again, thank you so much, not just for your service in the Army, but your service throughout your life. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well.
And thank you, audience, for joining us. It's been a pleasure to do this, and I hope you'll watch the movie. I think you will be stunned, and it'll change you.